Continuing with module 5 material science, it is the part 8 and the last part of it. In this slide we are going to see the internal fields in a solid, derivation of Clausius-Mosatti equation, types of dielectric materials, application of dielectric materials, and use of dielectric in transformers. First, let us see the internal fields in a solid. In dielectric solids, the atoms and molecules not only experience the external applied electric field, but also the electric field by the neighboring dipoles. Okay, so that means the neighborhood, in the neighborhood. So we have the atoms here, we have the atoms here, we have the atoms here. If you like this, if you could consider in the three-dimensional state. So then the electric field due to this, for this one, for example, for this one, due to this neighboring atom is also possible. So that is also is affected. The resultant electric field acting on the atoms or molecules of dielectric substance is called the local field or internal field. To study further, let us imagine a sphere of dielectric material. Okay, so here as you could see is a sphere of dielectric material that I am taking from within the material. Okay, and the local field at the center of the sphere, so for example if you could say here, is composed of two macroscopic and two microscopic field, which I am going to explain in the next slide. The microscopic fields are, we call one as E center, and that means it is the field at the center of the sphere due to contributions of ions surrounding it within the sphere. Okay, this you should remember, it is within the sphere. EL, that is the Lorentz field at the center of the spherical cavity due to charges on the surface of the cavity, this you should imagine. So first one, E center is within the sphere, and second one, Lorentz field, it is due to the charges on the surface of the cavity. Cavity means within the sphere itself, but it is on the cavity. You should consider a hollow, you should consider like this, a hollow sphere. So that means this part, for example, this internal part, this if I say that this green one, so this is the internal part. Okay, so let me just mark the blue one. This is the external, sorry, this is the blue one here. So this is the external part. Okay, this is the external part. So now due to the internal part, so that means this is the green one. Okay, due to the internal in the surface, on the surface of the cavity. Okay, so next, two types of macroscopic fields are considering the dielectric as a continuum. One is EX we call, so that is nothing, field due to applied voltage across the capacitor, and ED is depolarizing field due to dielectric polarization. So that means now that we considered already this as a sphere, and now if you consider this dielectric material as within a capacitor, for example, it is a capacitor, and this is positive side, and this is going to be negative side, and that means we are having the voltage that is being applied here, okay, across the plate, So EX is the field due to the applied voltage across the capacitor. That is what I have drawn here. And depolarizing field due to ED is the depolarizing field due to the dielectric polarization. So that is due to the dielectric polarization. Now in the considered volume of dielectric, if I consider a linear array of atoms, Then expression for the internal field, we don't have a derivation for you in your syllabus. I'm just giving you the expression. The expression for internal field for a linear array of atom is this one, that is EI is equal to E by 1 minus 1.2 alpha E divided by pi epsilon naught d cube, where this E is the applied electric field, alpha E is the electronic polarizability, epsilon naught is the dielectric constant of the volume, and D is the interatomic separation, which you could observe here. So D is the interatomic separation. Okay. Similarly, for a three-dimensional array of atoms, as you could view here, I'm just giving you the cube kind of thing, three-dimensional array of atoms. The expression for internal field is EI is equal to E plus gamma by epsilon naught into P, where gamma is nothing but the proportionality constant, which is also called as internal field constant or depolarization factor. It depends on the shape, and P is the polarization. Okay, by Lorentz method for a cubic structure in a sphere called Lorentz field, this gamma is nothing but 1 over 3. Okay, that is what is written here. Gamma is equal to 1 over 3. Now if you just substitute that gamma is equal to 1 over 3 in the above equation, then we have for Lorentz field, or the Lorentz field, E will be E plus P divided by 3 epsilon naught. After understanding the internal field, now let us go for one of the important relations in dielectrics, that is Clausius-Mosetti equation. It is very important. Now that the internal field of a dielectric is not the same as the applied electric field. Okay, that is what we have learned, because we have got something extra also apart from the applied electric field. This field is a result of various microscopic and macroscopic field inside the dielectric, that also we have seen. So that means this relation is given by the Clausius-Mosetti equation. So now let us consider a non-polar dielectric material which, when kept in an electric field, undergo only electronic polarization. Remember that. Now for this derivation we are considering only electronic polarization. If mu is the atomic dipole moment and there are n number of atoms are present in a unit volume, then by definition of polarization, it is nothing but P is equal to n into mu. Let that be equation 1. Okay, I'm just keeping equation in this slide also. We want that one. So now, if EI is the internal field experienced and alpha E is the electronic polarizability, then we know that expression for atomic dipole moment is mu is equal to alpha E into EI. That let it be equation 2. Now substituting equation 2 in 1, then we get P is equal to n into alpha E into EI. So that by rearranging you will get it as EI is equal to P by n alpha E, where this EI is nothing but the internal field. That let it be equation 3. But polarization, we know that polarization P is equal to epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 into E, where E is the applied electric field. Okay, so now again by rearranging we get it as the applied electric field E as equal to P over epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1. That let it be equation 4. Okay, let us have this equation 3 and equation 4 in this slide also. Okay, while learning about internal field for three-dimensional array of atoms, we have seen that the EI is equal to E into gamma into P over epsilon naught. That let it be equation 5. Okay, we know that gamma is nothing but the internal field constant. Substituting the expression for EI and E for equation 3 and 4 respectively in equation 5, then it becomes, equation 5 becomes P by N into N alpha E is equal to P by epsilon naught into epsilon r minus 1 plus gamma into P by epsilon naught. So that by rearranging we have that these all these P's are can be got cancelled, and remaining is 1 over n alpha E on the left hand side, and on the right hand side we have 1 over epsilon naught, because this epsilon naught here and epsilon naught here can be taken out. So it is 1 over epsilon naught into 1 by epsilon r minus 1 plus gamma. Okay, let me keep the last equation in this slide also. So now by considering it is for a Lorentz field we are explaining, so we can replace this gamma as 1 over 3 in the equation, so that I am doing it here. You say that this is 1 over 3 is replaced, and by rearranging what we can get is epsilon naught divided by n alpha E is equal to 3 plus epsilon r minus 1 divided by 3 into epsilon r minus 1. And left hand side it is the same, but simplifying on the right hand side we have epsilon r plus 2 divided by 3 into epsilon r minus 1. So now simplifying right hand side and just reversing the numerator and denominator in the equation, we have n alpha E divided by 3 epsilon naught is equal to epsilon r minus 1 divided by epsilon r plus 2. Okay, that let it be equation 6. So that equation 6 is nothing but the Cauchy-Mosetti relation, that is n alpha E divided by 3 epsilon naught is equal to epsilon r minus 1 divided by epsilon r plus 2. So the left hand side refers to the microscopic part. Okay, why? Because we are having alpha E here, alpha E. Okay, and right hand side is nothing but the macroscopic part. This is the dielectric constant epsilon r. Okay, so that is a relationship that we have. So equation is related to a macroscopic quantity on the right hand side and the microscopic part on the left hand side. So the consequence or the importance of Cauchy-Mosetti equation is that if you know the dielectric constant of the material, that is epsilon r, if you know by substituting them in this equation, and alpha naught we know the universal constant, then we can get alpha E, which is nothing but the electronic polarizability of the material. Now let us just look into the types of dielectric materials. Usually all these vacuum, solids, liquid and gases are the dielectric materials. Apart from, so then keeping out vacuum, then we have solid dielectric material, liquid dielectric material and gaseous dielectric material. Solid dielectric materials are used in all kinds of electrical apparatus and devices to insulate current carrying parts when they operate at different voltages. A good dielectric should have low dielectric loss, high mechanical strength, should be free from gaseous inclusions and moisture, and be resistant to thermal and chemical deterioration. Solid dielectrics have higher breakdown strength compared to liquids and gases. I would explain what is breakdown strength in the next slides. Examples are ceramics, paper, mica, glass, perspex, PVC, epoxy, resins, etc. To speak about liquid dielectric material, when in service, the electrical appliances may undergo prolonged heating due to eddy current or Joule heating. It will contribute for the deterioration of the material. In order to prevent or minimize the heating effect, liquid dielectrics are used. So that means it is mainly used to prevent or minimize the heating effect. The examples are transformer oil, which could be paraffin or isoparaffins or naphthalenes, etc. Polyester oils like PET, FEP oil, or polyolefins, silicon oils, castor oils, high temperature hydrocarbon, which is called as HTC, HTH oils, etc. Gaseous dielectric materials are used in electric power industry and high voltage electric equipments as insulating mediums or as arc or current interrupting mediums. Examples are just air or sulfur hexafluoride, that is also called SF6 commercially, nitrogen N2, or any other alternative gas. As I mentioned previously, I will have to explain what is dielectric breakdown. Let us see that. This is of course a breakdown due to high voltage. Okay, yeah, similar to mechanical and thermal stresses that we know in the routine materials. Materials can also have electrical stresses at high electric current density. It may lead to its failure or breakdown. In dielectric materials, it is referred as dielectric breakdown. The maximum voltage the dielectric material could withstand is known as dielectric strength. This is what we know. Okay, dielectric strength. So, if the field applied is beyond this dielectric strength, then dielectric material will start conducting. Then it is said to be dielectric breakdown. Okay, so different types of breakdowns are one is intrinsic breakdown, second one is thermal breakdown, third one is electrochemical breakdown, fourth one is discharge breakdown, and fifth one is defect breakdown. Okay, applications of dielectric materials, which is of course insulating materials. They are used in capacitors, as we know already, for energy storage. It is used in photosensitive materials for charge storage in laser printers and copying machines, used in transformers, which we will see briefly in the next slides, for mechanical actuation, for sound generation, for piezoelectricity, for cap sense, etc. Just view this slide. I have placed a few pictures of transformers. So in the transformers, how dielectrics are useful, let us see, it is important. The main issue here are the insulation, heating effect, and the moisture. So basically we know that the conducting wires are wound in coil around the magnetic core material referred as primary and secondary coil, which you have already studied. The surface of the wire are covered with insulator or enamel layer. Okay, that is also because basically it is a copper wire, but copper wire itself just A naked copper wire you cannot wound because there could be a shorting. So that is why wire has to be insulated. So that is why the enamel layers are used for insulation. Between the wire and core, high quality synthetic resin and waxed paper are also kept to prevent any shorting. Further, during the operation, due to eddy current and joule heating, the entire transformer tends to heat. So that is what you might have seen. Transformers for when it is on for long time, they are you could feel the heat near the transformers. So transformer oils, which is a liquid dielectric materials, are used which will act as both insulator and coolant. Okay, these transformer oils. And in addition, if the interiors are exposed to moisture, then deterioration of the coil and core materials may take place. The usage of nitrogen gas prevents oxidation and reduces rate of deterioration. SF6 gas, another, see now you see that transformer oil is one of the dielectric material, N2 is another dielectric material, this is liquid, and second one is the gas, and third one is SF6 is again the gas dielectric material which is also used. So SF6 gas is a non-toxic, non-inflammable and chemically inert gas used in the transformer. In large transformers, fluorocarbon liquids are also used with high dielectric strength. Hence, we came to the end of module 5 that addresses material science. In fact, material science means it is not the material science, which is a very vast subject. We just dealt with some of the electrical properties, starting from the good conductors with the two theories, classical free electron theory and quantum free electron theory. Then we saw the semiconductor properties, and then it is the dielectric properties.